Charli D'Amelio is a very interesting figure in the world of social media. She started out as just a regular girl with dance moves who wanted to do things on TikTok. However, she soon became the queen of TikTok, and someone who's gotten the most followers of anyone else on that service. As a result, everyone looks up to her and appreciates her. But the problem is that late in 2020, her, and her whole family to be honest, started to show their true colors, and many wonder what is going to happen to her. So allow us to show you why Charli D'Amelio's career is over after being exposed. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 6. The family dinner. So let's get right to the heart of the matter. What exactly did Charli do to tick people off? Well, to be fair, it was Charli, her sister Dixie, and her whole family. We'll explain. In the debut video for their new Dinner with the D'Amelios series on YouTube, the TikTok stars sat down with their parents Mark and Heidi and their first mystery guest, YouTube star and beauty influencer James Charles. The meal they had was cooked by chef Aaron May, who prepared a traditional paella as well as a vegan version for Heidi. While Mark was introducing Aaron, Charli made faces and sarcastically clapped her hands. She also made faces as she described the meal he was serving them, which is already a bad start to the proceedings as you'd expect. However, Dixie's behavior was even more appalling, despite her being the older sister. James was obliviously chatting away when she picked a piece of food off her plate and made faces as she pulled it apart. Dixie then sniffed at what was in her hand and mimed gagging. "What is that?" she mouthed, prompting a confused James to ask what everyone else was laughing at. "What is this?" Dixie repeated, holding up the piece of food in her hand. "It's mushroom," her dad said, but she wouldn't let it go. "No, it's not. That's a snail," she insisted. The chef confirmed that it actually was a snail, and Dixie threw her head back in disgust, while her sister's jaw dropped. He laughed as she made gagging noises, but noted that it's actually a classic paella ingredient. What was to follow was incredibly overdramatic outbursts by just about everyone in the D'Amelio family. From Charli acting disgusted to Dixie rushing out of the room to apparently go and vomit and more. At one point, Aaron honestly asked, "Is she faking?" Which was a good question due to everything that was going on. It was not a good look all around, and it was very shocking to many people because they'd never seen this side of the D'Amelio family before, and that raised a lot of eyebrows and brought for a lot of criticism. Number 5. Critically panned. For the D'Amelio sisters, just about everything they do is appreciated and beloved. That's why they have lots of fans. They're down-to-earth girls who were just talented enough to get fame, and many adore their videos and posts. But in this case, not so much. Because after that video went live, there were a ton of fans and critics looking on and going, what did I just watch? "This is just sad," one critic wrote. "It's a shame nobody taught these girls manners, and an even bigger shame we gave them such a big platform." They weren't done there. "Bruh, they seemed spoiled as hell," someone else noted. "They're acting like little brats. The poor chef." "My mom would have slapped me if I acted like that at the dinner table," another insisted, with many agreeing with him. "I've never had a problem with the D'Amelios, but their behavior was just disgusting," one critic shared. "I feel so bad for the chef. They acted so bratty, like there are people who are struggling to feed their families." And to make matters worse, a number of people pointed out that James was doing a better job of scolding the girls for their bad behavior than even their parents were. "James was literally the only mature one there," one person wrote. The fact that he was the one scolding them and not their own parents says a lot. "It's sad that James was checking them instead of their own parents," someone else agreed, while another added, "The only person I see that has manners is James Charles, not even the parents." How's that for a blow to the ego? And yet, if you watched the video, you know it's valid. Although not everyone would agree with that thought, as we'll soon see. Number 4. Overblown? Some might look at this and wonder, are people judging this too harshly? Let me think. No, not at all. The D'Amelios seemed like great people from start to finish, and then we see this video where they basically come off as spoiled snobs who'd rather make fun of a chef than just be polite and decline to eat the things they didn't want. Plus, this was their personal chef, so they could have asked him to make anything. So what happened? Did they let him just surprise them and then find themselves looking at a snail meal? That'd seem kind of odd, don't you think? So if they planned this, as in planned to have that reaction,
Oh God.
they watched this video before it went live and thought it was good viewing. They approved what was being shown. So them being viewed in a bad light is literally on them because they felt it was fine for these actions to be shown on YouTube. Either way, the D'Amelio sisters came off as punks and fools, and it didn't stop once the video went live. Number 3. Blown out of proportion. In the days following the release of the video, Charli lost more than 1 million followers on TikTok, and on November 19th, she shared an emotional live stream responding to the backlash. While the live stream was not available on any of her social media, fans recorded and shared the clip. "I feel like it was all just one huge misunderstanding and I'm sorry, but I think it's become completely blown out of proportion," she said through tears. "No matter what I say, no matter how I handle any of this, people are still going to think what they're going to think, and that's fine. Because those are the people who, in the long run, weren't going to be there for me at the end of the day, and that's fine. I understand that." Just about sums up her bratty nature, don't you think? Neither of these two apologized for what happened, nor did they come out and state that the video was staged to cover their bases. They just tried to shrug it off or ignore it to make people forget. But we won't. Not after what we saw and witnessed. They should have done a very public and permanent apology stating that their manners weren't great, that they were disrespectful to both their chef and their friend who joined them, that they'll endeavor not to do that again, and that the next episode of their show will be more of an indication of how the family acts. But did they do that? No. Charli just deflected and tried to put the blame on fans who wouldn't support her. That's not how this works, Charli. This is why a lot of people are fearful of the next generation, because many won't accept blame, they'll just shift it around, which Charli has proven elsewhere on social media.
If that's not what you guys want, that's fine. Now I know that and I won't do it again.
Number 2. Lack of activism. Another thing that has painted Charli D'Amelio in a bad light is that in recent times, people from all over have been looking at their favorite social media stars to go and speak out on various injustices in the world. Many have via the Black Lives Matter movement, but many more have not. In fact, many social stars were asked to speak out on a certain matter late in 2020, and yet many of the top stars didn't, including Charli. Their excuse was they didn't have their phones that day, or in the case of Charli, she was too busy to go and do it. Fans rightfully called them out, especially since their voices, via their fame, are the ones that people will listen to and even rally behind. But when they stay silent, it speaks volumes, for a very bad reason. Number 1. Is her career really over? Many people in cancel culture really do love to believe that someone's career is over because of the various things they do. But unless it's a certain level of cruel, evil, racist, or something in between, they usually just get a slap on the wrist, which is likely what's going to happen with Charli and her family. Don't get us wrong, they're still getting flack, including Dixie being called out for doing a Bahamas vacation while the pandemic is still raging on. But they're still the most popular family on TikTok, and that fame isn't likely to go away overnight, barring something really bad. But the fans are getting a real look at them now, and that's not nothing. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Charli D'Amelio and her family and the incidents that have opened the eyes of many fans? Can you believe the antics they did in that video? What do you think it'll take for Charli to truly earn back her fans' trust? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.